The story begins with a man named William, who is sitting on a ship, looking out the window at the vast ocean. After this, the scene shifts, and we see Professor Julian giving a lecture in his university class about human evolution, focusing especially on Neanderthals. During his lecture, he mentions that one of his seniors has preserved the fossil of a Neanderthal on the campus and has named it William. He further explains that if we could somehow achieve cloning, we'd be able to understand ancient civilizations even better. Julian then explains that cloning is the process of creating an exact real-life copy of a living being, whether it's a human or an animal. Meanwhile, all of this is being listened to by Barbara, who is an expert in reproductive andrology. After finishing her class, Barbara meets Julian and explains the process of cloning to him. She tells him that what he's suggesting is actually possible. They could clone a Neanderthal using its DNA. Although the process would be extremely challenging and expensive, both of them agree to go ahead with it. Time passes, and with the university's permission, the two of them begin their own experiment. Before long, they get married and quickly become the most famous couple on campus. But of course, things can't be that simple. Soon, the university's higher officials start questioning whether this experiment is ethical or not. The university president discusses it with colleagues and eventually puts a stop to the project. However, Julian and Barbara refuse to accept this decision, since they had already dedicated years of hard work to it. Despite all the challenges, Barbara decides to carry the baby herself. Sometime later, in Nevada, Barbara gives birth to a healthy Neanderthal baby boy, whom they name William. Julian goes to the university and tells his seniors about it, but they get very angry because he used the university funds for this project without informing them. A debate breaks out among the seniors. Some argue that Julian should be expelled from the university and that a case should even be filed against him. But others point out that doing so would also put the university under scrutiny, and people would question how they approved it in the first place. In the end, the decision is made to just let it go and deal with whatever happens in the future. During the press conference, Julian shows photos of William and says he is their test subject. He explains that William's immune system is much stronger than that of normal children, and that neither he nor his wife is biologically related to him. From Julian's words, it's clear that he doesn't have any parental feelings for William. He only sees him as a test subject. After this, we see William again. He has just turned 18, and he arrives at a house deep in the forest, where his mother welcomes him warmly. After she leaves the house, William notices several paintings of Neanderthals along with weapons made of stone. Then, a girl named Sarah walks in and introduces herself as William's girlfriend. Later that evening, while they're having dinner, Julian explains that William needs about 20% more calories than a normal human. After the meal, Julian goes to William's room and tells him, "I'm very proud of your efforts to learn everything." Meanwhile, Sarah tries to teach William some basic English, but learning the language isn't easy for him. He struggles a lot with it. The next morning, Julian tells his students in class about the people who were against the Neanderthal baby. He explains that many of them believed the baby would be dangerous for humans, but that never happened. In fact, studies have shown that the Neanderthal baby is just as intelligent as humans, maybe even smarter. Its immune system is also so strong that it can fight serious illnesses on its own. Julian says this discovery is like a miracle for medical science, since it could help save countless lives. Then, in a flashback, we see Julian and Barbara arguing about William. Julian still wants to keep him in the lab as a test subject, while Barbara wants to give him a better future. Julian reminds her that she used to be such a good science partner to him, but things have changed now. Barbara responds by saying that she now sees herself as William's mother, not his science partner. After saying this, Barbara walks away. Later, we learn that because of their differences, Barbara divorces Julian and takes custody of William. When William is finally old enough to start school, Julian shows up on his very first day and watches how William interacts with the other kids. Over time, Julian begins coming over to William's house more often. William's father plays with him and starts noticing the way he behaves. As the years go by, William grows into a teenager. During this time, some kids start bullying him, calling him a caveman and trying to beat him up. But they can't stand a chance against William's strength. Their parents even try to report it to the police, but they fail. That night, William gets curious and decides to learn more. He sits down with his laptop and starts looking up information about Neanderthals. He comes across several articles that make fun of them, describing them as nothing more than an old and uncivilized species. The next morning, Julian comes over again to see William and starts playing with him. Soon, Barbara shows up and invites both of them inside the house for lunch. That's when we meet Barbara's new boyfriend, Ted. Seeing him, Julian feels a strange mix of emotions that he can't quite understand. After meeting Ted, Julian tells William that just for a day, he's gonna send someone else in his place for the routine checkup. This makes Barbara furious, and she calls him out, saying he doesn't care about his son at all. She yells, "How could you send a stranger for his checkup? Later, in high school, William struggles with a lot of problems because of his unusually strong grip. After class, a girl named Judy asks him to help her rehearse lines for a play. Right after that, William's friends remind him about the upcoming camp party and invite him to join. William tells the girl that he'll help her once he returns from the camp. While at camp with his friends, they meet two strangers who decide to join them. During their conversation, William's friend mentions that William is actually a Neanderthal, and the two strangers curiously ask him if he ever feels like going back to his own time. To everyone's surprise, William answers yes. After returning, William helps Judy rehearse her lines for the play. When the performance reaches its climax, they share a scripted kiss on stage. But as soon as the curtain falls, William leans in to continue the kiss. The girl immediately pulls away and refuses him. Later, we see Barbara and Julian meeting with the principal at William's school. The principal explains that William is indeed a very intelligent child, but he tends to get stuck on basic problems. If he wants to apply to another university, he will need to take extra coaching. Here, Julian discovers that Barbara had secretly withdrawn William's university application without telling anyone. After he finds this out, the two of them start fighting. Then the principal steps in and says they should at least ask William about it first. Meanwhile, William is hanging out with his friends, talking about their plans for the future and college. In this moment, he realizes that he's still not sure about what he really wants to do. Later in the evening, both of his parents go to talk to him. Julian tells him, "I want you to come with me to the university so we can do some new experiments." But Barbara explains to him, "Your father just wants to use you as a test subject. I want you to finish your graduation and get a normal job." Julian then tries to convince him, saying that William's strong immune system could help save the lives of many people. After hearing both sides, William replies, "I'm ready to go with Julian, but only on one condition, that I will be treated as a student." Julian is thrilled with his answer. Over time, Julian starts helping William prepare for the entrance exam. But despite all of Julian's effort, William still doesn't do well in the mock tests. Frustrated, Julian takes out his anger on Sarah. After Julian leaves, Sarah reassures William that he actually did well. But William still can't make sense of anything, because deep down, he feels like he's rowing through life all by himself. To cheer him up, Sarah asks him to join her for a walk in the forest. While they walk, she shares her own example, telling him that parents only want the best for us, and maybe that's why they act so strict. Then, out of nowhere, William and Sarah start kissing. Later that evening, Julian asks them where they had been for so long. William feels uneasy with the question, so he goes straight to his room and falls asleep holding the stone of his ancestors in his hands. The next morning, Sarah takes William to the university for his exam. Inside the exam hall, William accidentally breaks the tip of his pencil again because of his strength. Frustrated, he leaves the class and goes to see Dr. Thomas. The doctor shows him the preserved body of a Neanderthal that's kept safely in the university and tells him that he was created from it, or that his DNA was taken from it. Meanwhile, Sarah goes to Barbara and tells her that William is nowhere to be found. At the same time, William secretly listens to one of Julian's lectures. During the lecture, Julian shows William's photos and points him out, mocking him as a Neanderthal baby with low intelligence. Annoyed, William steps into the middle of the class and calls Julian and his experiment a failure. Furious, Julian fires back, saying this isn't an experiment. William himself is the failure. But soon he realizes his mistake and goes straight to calm William down. Feeling hurt, William leaves the classroom. Julian quickly follows him outside and apologizes for what he did, but William tells him, "I feel like you're not my real father." Angered by this, Julian slaps him hard, leaving William deeply hurt. William then starts walking away, but suddenly Julian drops the Neanderthal-era stone from his hand. As both Julian and William reach to pick it up, they get into a brief struggle, and in the chaos, Julian accidentally gets hurt by William's hand. Frightened, William runs away. Meanwhile, Sarah and Barbara arrive at the university with the patrolling police. Just as William is about to leave the campus, Sarah and Barbara try to reach him, but the patrolling police stop them. Sarah and Barbara beg desperately to reach him, but the police don't let them go to him. At that moment, Sarah sees William's dead body in front of her, since the police shot him when he refused to listen. The movie then shows its final scene, where Sarah is with a child, who might be William's. And that's where the story ends. Now, let's talk about the story. It was very simple. There's just one thing to understand here. Some people might have found William's behavior strange at the end and might think that ancient people are less intelligent. But in my view, if Julian had treated him more like a son instead of just a test subject, William would never have turned out this way. Because of all these circumstances, his behavior became aggressive by the end of the movie. What's your opinion on this? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe.